Here we're going to look at how to format our paragraphs in Word. The options that we're going to explore are found in two places in Word. First is on the Home tab under Paragraph. The second is under the Layout tab, again Paragraph. So let's start on the Home tab. The first part pertains to lists, which we will explore as its own topic later. The next is the alignment of our paragraphs. So if we just select any paragraph, we have four options for alignment. The default, which is align left, which just pushes everything to the left margin. We have center, which puts everything in the center. We have align right, which pushes everything to the right. The last is justification, which stretches each line except for the last line of the paragraph to span from the left margin to the right margin. The next option is a drop-down, which allows us to change our line spacing. It also allows us to add or remove spacing before and after the paragraph. We'll check out these spacing options in more detail when we go to the Layout tab. We can add a background color to our paragraph. We can add borders to it. If we want to copy the formatting that we've changed from this paragraph to another, we just simply click into the paragraph, click the Format Painter, and then click on the one that we want to apply the formatting to. A note on the borders, notice how there's no line between the two paragraphs. That's because when I picked the borders, I picked only the outside borders. If we include all borders, it'll include a border in between the two paragraphs. We have an option here to show or hide paragraph marks. Which shows things like the end of paragraph. It also shows white space like each period or a tab. We can indent. We can add indents to our paragraphs. There's buttons to quickly do it here and there. So if we increase the indent, it pushes the left hand of our paragraph in. There's also a button to decrease our indent. We can also manually set our indents using markers on the rulers. So if you don't already have these rulers shown across the top and the side of Word, go to View, find Rulers under Show, and make sure that it is checked. To set our indents, click into a paragraph. Let's first look at the left indent. We have three handles on the left. The handle on the top represents only the first line of our paragraph, so if we click and drag that one in, it indents the first line of our paragraph. The next one underneath represents all but the first line of the paragraph. And the square one underneath, if we grab that, it moves both indents together. On the right hand side, we only have a single handle, which allows us to indent. Let's look at the options we have under the Layout tab. Again, we have the indents available left and right. I have words set to inches. So if we have a look here, it goes from 5.5 inches to 6.5 inches, and there's our 1 inch. 0.81 inches from 0 to this one here. The next thing for us to consider is the spacing. We can add space before and after our paragraphs. So if we just start increasing the after, You can see it just starts pushing the next paragraph down the page. If we increase the before, it starts pushing itself down the page along with everything that follows it. A note on using before and after spacing. If we look at our first paragraph, the before spacing is 0, and therefore it lines up with our top margin. If we start adding space before, we get a blank at the top of the page, which in many situations is undesirable. We can see all of our paragraph formatting by clicking this little down arrow to get to the paragraph settings. We can access this menu through both the Layout tab under Paragraph and as well on the Home tab under Paragraph again. We can see a preview down in this little window. And so again, we have alignment, left, center, right, and justified. This outline level, we'll come back and have a quick look at that at the end here. So indentation, the same numbers as from the Layout tab. We can have a hanging indent, which means that the first line is indented less than the remaining lines. If we switch that to a first line indent, now we have the first line indented more than the remaining lines. And then here, the spacing before and after, same as on the Layout tab. Our line spacing, the default is multiple, which means it's a multiple of the height of our text. We can set that to single, which is the same as having multiple of 1. We can go 1.5 lines, same as a multiple of 1.5. Double is 2 at least. Our spacing is at least 12 points, but if the text is bigger, it will push it to wider lines. We can tell it exactly, which will maintain 12 points even if the text is too big to fit in it. Let's switch back to multiple, and 1.08 is the default number. Let's have a look and see what that outline level does. If you don't have the navigation pane on, go into View, open up Navigation pane. And I'm going to quickly add a couple headings. Okay, now we have some stuff in our navigation pane. If we go back to our paragraph here, click our outline level, it will add it to our outline, which in turn adds it to our navigation. So level 1 is our level 1 headings, level 2 is level 2 headings. If we give this a level 3, inserts that into there. And note that that inserts the entire thing into our outline. If we were to add a table of contents, it gets added to our table of contents as well. And that covers everything we should need to know about paragraph formatting.